So, I think one of the questions that came out of our table discussion, or one of the sentences, was we will not lose our jobs as cartographers and mappers. So that's good news. But the roles will probably change a little bit. There's still questions remaining around the risk of AI, data integrity, and the reliability of the data. Also relying on the global tech, of data not being available and the age divide. I mean, I think, older people might not be able to read all these digital maps. They might still want to look at a map, a real map. So that's still going to be a big point. So there will be the mix of jobs a little bit, the GIS people, the cartographers, and the designers to make still beautiful maps, because we still are humans. We like looking at stuff, we like touching things. That's not going away. So there was one, we were sort of saying maybe we'll be less technical and more into design, but we couldn't quite decide on that, because we still need to keep the tech skills to just make sure that everything's okay, to do the QA, to keep the human oversight in as much as possible. Although then there's the question, can we keep the human oversight, because nobody will understand what's happening in the background. We're pretty critical with humans if they do something wrong, if the map's not right. Will we be as critical with AI as we are with ourselves? And understanding what's going on in the background. So then we were saying critical thinking is really important. So that's something that young people should learn and be far more involved with. And teaching this to young people. So on our table we're saying that apparently the kids aren't questioning it enough. So they use responses from AI, ChatGPT and so on, and they take it as real. They don't. So we need to teach that critical thinking a lot more. That's really important. And questioning, connecting history with what we see in the map, what the map actually tells us. And then of course AI is a really good thing to help us with some work. Saves us from going to the field and doing all the field work ourselves. So AI can do all of that automated. But you still need people with skills to actually question that data and look at it later on and check if this actually makes sense, instead of just leaving it and accepting what it says. So AI will help with data integration and analytics and so on. But we have to be careful with the whole legal aspect of it. Just relying on AI can have consequences that might get us in a lot of trouble. And so we thought maybe we come up with an error rating. So so if you're just summarizing something with AI, that's less sensitive, that's easy, you can do that easily. But if you do complicated analytics, that would be a high sensitive error rating, so you might have to check a bit more on that. And then another highlight on our table was the pixel passport. So for quality control, that everything that goes out that has been created with AI has a passport, it has a stamp of approval rating, and we can at least rely on that being okay. And if that hasn't got a pixel passport, then we forget this. And then everybody was talking about, the topic of self-driving cars came up. So how this is already happening in America, there's self-driving cars, and the question is, are they, people are excited about it, but how reliable are they? We couldn't quite tell how up-to-date the maps are that these cars are using, so they might still go down the wrong route at the end of the day. And then I was really curious to understand, or to find out, will people still use their phone in 20 years? And we all agreed that probably yes, because we like looking at things like that and touching something, and it's like your newspaper, you just have something there to go by. But probably what the phone tells you will be more immersive somehow, whether it's in your ear or around you or something, but you still have that security backup to look at something. And then the other thing is that came up, is not what we see here a map technically? And if we just scan this table, if there was a chip in the table, we could just scan it and get all the information about where this table is, how many people have just sat there, how many people have just been talking about what topic. So maybe this is already, it could be a different reality, or virtual reality as we see it here. I think that's probably it. Thank you very much.